PlayStation releases their games.
PlayStation.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good bloody well evening, and welcome to CrossButton, our fortnightly deep dive into all things PlayStation. And joining us this week, it's our two resident ponies. It's the ever dual sensible Heather. Hi, Heather.
Hello.
And
How's
it's
it going?
I'm very well, mate. You?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And it's the PS4, Laurie. Hi, Laurie.
Hi, Dan. How's it going?
Very well, mate.
Good.
Very well. Just mixing it up a little
Thanks
bit
for that.
you.
I caught me off guard, that one.
It did a bit, didn't it? That's fine. Laurie, it's cold at the moment. What are you doing tonight to keep yourself warm?
I've got my radiator on here. Okay. I'm in my cold loft, which I have my electric heater in. It keeps me warm.
Cool. It's gusty out there,
It's
Heather.
as cold as it has been, Dan. It's not as cold as it has been.
No, that's what I was about leading on to. But it is gusty, Heather. What are you doing to keep the wind out?
Hoping that my fence doesn't blow down, which it may do. It's currently being held up with a garden bench. No jokes.
I'll tell you what's getting blown down. The barrier between television and games. That's what's getting fucking blown down right now. I'll tell you what, guys, that's a segue and a half into the Last of Us TV show. We've had 2 episodes. Are we gonna do spoilers? Is it spoilers? I suppose.
No, you can't spoil it.
I think you could spoiler it. Like, I'm going to say that only because I know people who are, like, accessing this for the first time because it's a TV show, not a game, right? So,
yeah, good point.
I feel like for that sense. I mean, they're probably not listening, but I feel like for being good eggs, we should keep it spoiler-free.
Well...
And also, Pedro is keeping us all warm in these cold, cold evenings.
He's literally keeping television alive.
I think we can assume that our audience knows what happens in it, so I don't think we need to even go near spoiler territory anyway. So, well, just in case.
I'm going to put a 5-minute warning on this anyway. We're going to talk about The Last of Us for 5 minutes. And
I'm sure that said 5 hours, mate.
It does say 5 hours. And to be fair...
It's settling in now.
Once you get Laurie going, you never know. I'm gonna press start. It's not going to be very on brand, but when it goes off, it's going to be the item received tone from The Legend of Zelda. Sue me. So I'm going to hit the 5 minutes from now. So I think that whilst it's not a spoiler to say, it is fair comment and maybe spoiler for some people to go, this is pretty much beat for beat the same as the games.
Yep.
Yeah. And what what do we actually think about that at the moment, Heather? Come on, you can go first.
Love it. 10 out of 10.
Literally, that's it. Laurie, come on.
I agree with Heather. It's very good. Yeah, I love it too. There are a few minor differences, but where they've changed things, it's just to make it better television, and the fact that you've not spent like 5 hours in a game to get to that point. So they've made some small changes just to kind of move things along a bit quicker, to keep a bit of momentum and urgency to it. And I think everything is because Neil Druckmann is so heavily involved in this. You kind of think anything they change, that's fine. You know, it's his game, it's his story he's telling. He can do what he likes to it. So everyone that gets upset about the things they've changed, I'm like, it's his game, it's his TV show now. Like, just get over it. Just trust that he's got a good reason for it all.
The biggest change is the mechanic of how people actually get sick, isn't it? So it's not the spores now, it's this mushroom kind of infection. And like the cold start of episode 1, where it's kind of like that, I don't know, like 40, 50 years ago, when a guy's talking about what would happen if, hypothetically, a mushroom like that. It's really, really well done and really well set up, and I think it's still exceptionally respectful to the actual core narrative of the game. But I'm cooler on it than I think you two are. I think episode 2 is certainly going the right way for me. I'm not 100% on Bella Ramsey as Ellie. I think that's just because maybe I've got recency bias of the second game. And I'm thinking like, okay, well, Ellie's not that annoying in that game, but she is really fucking annoying in the first game, as people point out. Mm-hmm. So I think that's the whole point of the TV show. It's meant to establish her as this annoying character. But yeah, I'm not 100% sold on it. I think the only other part, there are, so pretty much guessed some elements of it pretty quickly and almost like right away. Obviously, I doubt she'll be able to guess the majority of the rest of it, but yeah, certain beats at the start were quite good. What else? Yeah, and won't spoil this part, but that kiss in episode 2 right at the end is probably one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen on television.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've still got 2.5 minutes.
Well, I was just going to say, it'll be interesting to see what you have to report back when it finishes and how how she finds the ending, and because obviously we all know what's coming and we know how it's going to end and what that big kind of twist and what it's building up to and the emotional sucker punch that it gives you at the end. So it'll be interesting to see how she finds that.
We should bring her on as a guest.
We can bring her on as a guest and she can give an interview on it. And we'll literally, we've done it once before on a Switch Island podcast, so we can do it again. Season 2's been confirmed, and Druckmann has come out and said it will be exactly the same. So we're going into episode 2 of The Last of Us, and it'll be the same. So that's interesting.
Really does surprise me.
It does, because I would guess there's a third game coming. I think we're all pretty knowledgeable about that.
It surprises me that if they just make one series out of the second game, because the second game is so much bigger and longer. It's essentially 2 games in one, isn't it? Because it breaks as that midpoint where the whole thing shifts. And it would seem perfect to have season 2 can be the first half of that game, and season 3 can be the second. I'd hate them to kind of rush it into 9 episodes for no good reason. And if they do make 2 series, then who knows? Maybe they're going to buy themselves enough time for part 3 to come out. Although I don't think that's very far along at all, so probably not. But you never know.
I'd be surprised. I think part 3's probably been in development for a while now. I don't know. I'd be happy with the engine that they're currently producing the games in. So, if they bring out another game in that engine, you'd hope it'd be a little bit quicker than the gap between 1 and 2. But
yeah, and I hope you're right. But they've said some things, and maybe they're just being coy and just trying to be mysterious and throw people off guard. But they're saying, we'd have to find a really good story before we did it. So you're right. Maybe they have got a good story, and they are well on the way on it.
The art's been there.
Well, you'd like to think so, but maybe they're just teasing people, just sort of misdirecting people, so that when they do reveal it, it's like a big surprise. I hope that's the case, but I'm trying not to get my hopes up.
Yeah. Well, it's made me want to go and finish the second game, because I kind of fell off that. I think I was about 20 hours in and just stopped playing it. So I need to go back and finish that as well. So there you go.
I can't wait. Just wait. The director's cut will be out in a few months' time. They'll re-release part 2. You watch, exactly. And everyone will kick off, and it'll be glorious. 7
seconds, 6 seconds, 5 seconds, 4 seconds, 3 seconds, 2 seconds, podcast gold, 1 second. There you go.
I didn't even get to talk about how Joel's a zombie.
All the way through. Are we playing anything else at the moment, Heather? Any games on the go other than television?
Yeah, I'm currently playing Dark Souls.
Ooh, not heard of that. Is it any good?
Yeah. It's okay. It's like a small indie title, not very well known. Really easy, actually.
Okay. Yeah.
Probably it's for you, to be fair.
Well, I've only had it a week, and I'm not far away from the end, so it's not that hard.
And what version is it? Is it a remastered one that came out?
Yes. It's, I think, the PS4 remaster of the initial PS3 game.
Oh, cool. Okay. And did you get the bundle one where it's all of the Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3?
No, we went old school. I've borrowed this from a mate.
Wow. Okay. Just like Blockbuster, but a person.
Truly. We traded. He's got Callisto, and we borrowed Dark Souls 1.
Ah, nice. Very cool.
Yep.
So what's the plan after 1? Are you going to try and get 2 and then 3 and then, is he going to... Yep. Yeah, that's fine. Cool.
Pretty much. Yep. Played them through, and then also we've got the latest Dark Pictures on the back burner.
What's that one? Mana Medina, is it?
No, that's like 4 ago.
4? No, that's second thing.
It's The Devil Inside.
Okay.
Based on the Murder House.
Okay, nice. Horrible.
Yeah.
Laurie, anything else on the go with you?
Well, I finished Ragnarok, and everyone should play that because it's bloody fantastic. Now, I'm afraid, please don't just instantly boot me off this podcast, but I'm playing Hi-Fi Rush on the Xbox, which was Shadow Drops this week, and it is blooming excellent. Love it.
Okay, there we go. Laurie has
It's the first game that's really made me... Well, yeah, sorry, I'm going to be appearing from next week on the Xbox file.
Check your NDA, motherfucker. You can't go on the podcast. So good luck with that.
You know what? It's the first game that's really made me glad that I have an Xbox and been able to play it. It's really good. As an exclusive goes, the Xbox needs many more of these games of this. vibrancy and caliber and just freshness. It's what it's all about. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. It's very stylish and fun.
Alex is texting you right now as he's listening to this onto his on his commute on a Monday morning.
Talk about the cat. Tell them about the cat, Laurie. All right.
He's just
It's got a cat in it as well. Okay.
Dreadful.
I'm sold. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got a cat ever. Come on.
Best cat
But I
game
have to dust
2023.
off the Xbox.
Dust it off just for the cat. What else have I been playing? So I jumped into the Outer Wilds, so played that for like an hour and a half. That's quite interesting. Weird games kind of get into. So I'm not 100% sold yet. I think I need to watch a couple of videos and a couple of reviews of the game and understand how to play it better, because at the moment I'm trying to whiz through it a little bit, and I think I need to be a little bit more nuanced. I'm also playing Seasons as well, which we kind of got a code for, so thank you very much for supplying the code. I played maybe like an hour of that, and the opening hour is absolute bliss, but I did have 2 screaming children with me, and that is not how that game's meant to be played. It's meant to be played when it's nice and calm and you can kind of go through it at your own pace. But I'll give you a bit of a brief. So like the opening maybe 20 minutes is you're having to create a pendant with your mum because you're about to go on a journey where you're documenting this season, and whilst the world's very similar to our own, it's not as well. Seasons aren't like a shift in weather. It's almost like the whole entire world completely resets and changes, and people don't remember what happens in previous season, but it is kind of documented in a museum locally, and your job is to kind of go out into the wilderness and the wilds and document and listen to and record and take pictures of, and a notebook, scrapbook, all of the things that you can see in the people that you meet, and capture as much of it as possible. And it felt like a real me game, and it was one that I pestered Alex to get a code for, so he kindly managed to sort one for us. But yeah, so like I said, the first 20 minutes you're making this pendant, and you're having to go around your house and find memories to make the pendant, because the whole point, it protects you on your journey. And as you're putting the memory in there, your mum's losing that memory, and some of the narrative and the way that the dialogue works is really, really sincere and lovely. It's definitely one where I don't think I want to talk too much about it and just let other people experience it. But I'm hoping to finish that this week as well. So you can get it on the PS Store. I think it's 23, 24 quid if you were so inclined. The one thing I will say, it's got almost like point and click walking and moving without the actual point and click element, and I think that probably could have been sharpened up a bit. But other than that, it's fine. It's really good. Cool. Okay, well, we talked about The Last of Us. We talked about what we're playing. Now we're going to move on to our topic of the week. So, Laurie, you've pre-ordered one of these. We're talking about the PSVR2, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So we got a full list of all of the launch titles. So I'm going to whiz through them. And I don't know if you guys have got anything especially you're passionate about. Heather, are you getting one of these day one? Are you? Yeah, same as me.
Nope.
So, did you get PSVR original?
Yeah, but not till years later, and it was a Christmas present for my partner. It's not my vibe at all.
Yeah, it was the same. And then it just gathered dust for a long time, and then I'd just play Beat Saber on it, probably, a couple of times a month, which was still fantastic. But anyway, so I'm going to go down the full list, and we'll talk about a couple of games on here, especially, I think, Laurie, the ones that you want to pick up. So, After the Fall, Complete Edition, Alter Breaker, Before Your Eyes, Cities VR Enhanced Edition, Cosmonius High, Creed, Rise to Glory, Championship Edition. There you go. Get your trunks on, Laurie, and start boxing. Switchback VR. We got Demio. We've got Discronia. I'm sure I had that once. We've got Fantavision 2020X. We've got Gran Turismo 7, Horizon Call of the Mountain, Job Simulator / Vacation Simulator, Jurassic World Aftermath Collection, Kayak VR, Kazuna AI Touch the Beat, The Last Clockwinder, The Light Brigade, Moss Book 2, NFL Pro Era. Do you play the ball in that? I don't even know what you play in that. No Man's Sky, which would just make me vomit. Pavlov, Pistol Whip, Puzzling Places, Resident Evil Village VR, fuck that. Res Infinite, Song and the Smoke Rekindled, Star Wars Tales from the Galaxy Edge, Enhanced Edition, Synth Riders, Remastered Edition, Synth Riders, who's naming these games? Another one, Tale of Onaguru, Tentacular, Tetris Effect Connected, Thumper, The Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners Chapter 2 Retribution, What the Bat, and Zenith, The Last City. Laurie, what are you picking up out of those day one?
Well, I've got the Horizon bundle I pre-ordered,
Okay.
so definitely that. I was really mindful of not wanting to get VR sick with motion sickness. And there's a really good Eurogamer article about the 7 best games to play that if you're completely new to VR, start with these ones and ease yourself in gently rather than just jumping straight into Resident Evil Village and making yourself very sick very quickly. And they even left Horizon off that list, and it's like, oh, that's definitely the game I'm going to have to play first because that's the their big game.
Yeah.
But there were some of the other things on the list for complete newcomers to VR was the Fantavision, with games where basically you are static, and you're not moving around, and you're just looking around the world. So that Fantavision, Moss Book 1 and 2. So I'll get Moss 1 and 2 day one. That Fantavision as well probably. I've got Horizon on order. I will definitely get Switchback VR. I really like the original. I played that very briefly on the first PSVR. I like that. I want to play more of that. And then Before Your Eyes looks very intriguing. It's a game where you kind of live through someone's life story, and every time you blink, it moves time on, either a few hours, a few years, decades. So it's a really interesting mechanic on that one. It's just a kind of a short indie experience that I like the sound of. And that's what I'm looking for in VR, basically. Just give me some unique short experiences that I haven't played before. I'm an idiot for fancy graphics. I'm probably going to get the kayak game as well, just to wind Max up. Just because the developers say that this is the perfect game because it eases you into VR quite gently because you're sat there in a kayak and you're moving with your arms, and that's moving you, so your kind of brain feels your arms are moving and that's moving you through the water, and so it feels quite natural and doesn't give you that motion sickness. The Star Wars game I really want as well. The Song in the Smoke is supposed to be very well acclaimed, and so is The Last Clockwinder, so I'll probably pick them up at some point. And I've already got Rez, which I think they gave that away for free once upon a time, so I've got that in my library, and that's I think it's a £10 upgrade, so I'll probably do that as well, just to get the PSVR2 version of Rez as well. So yeah, so for me there's quite a lot.
So Mike Lowe, T3.com, wrote, there's been a lot said about PlayStation VR 2 for the PS5, much of which revolves around its high asking price, but having been one of the first to sample the virtual reality kit at the world's largest technology show, CES 2023, I immediately went ahead and pre-ordered one. I know it almost sounds like a rash decision, especially as I'm hardly the world's most enthusiastic advocate of virtual reality in general, but I'm particularly fond of Guerrilla Games' Horizon IP and Aloy's antics, so having had a taster of Call of the Mountain, all I now want to do is have it as my own to explore deeper. I must admit the initial setup process wasn't totally smooth sailing, but I largely put that down to being a glasses wearer and those pesky lenses causing some visual aberrations, then having to set up the play area and PSVR2's eye tracking feature. I was extra keen, and so the first one into the demo area following Sony's CES 2023 press conference, hence it hadn't been set up in advance. Once everything was in position, VR2 overhead, headphones on, the 2 controllers in my hands, and it was a transformative experience. I can totally see why Horizon Call of the Mountain is for PS5 and PSVR2 exclusively, utilising the graphic wallop for simply jaw-dropping visuals. Heather, I mean, do you think you'll ever get this, or do you think it's just something that's not going to be for you unless you really see a killer IP in the future?
Not for me, not at all. It'll potentially be a purchase for my other half. He's a big fan. My stepkids are quite a big fan of all that sort of stuff. But no, like I sit on the couch with a controller, kind of gamer, not like with the hat on. Does not work. It makes me so sick. It just ruins like my favorite hobby. So I am jealous. Like I would like to get to appreciate it, but I don't get there.
No, I get it. I'm the same because PSVR. I mean, I loved, like I said, Beat Saber and a couple of games on there. I struggled a lot with motion sickness, so especially the likes of what was it called? Squadrons, Star Wars Squadrons. I think I notoriously played that on stream for about 12 minutes. Completely, for some reason, forgot I was motion sick, prone. And then 12 minutes in, I had to pause the stream and go and vomit for about 10 minutes in the toilet.
Does the stream go downhill whilst you're streaming? And you're like, oh my god, what am I doing?
No, I'm having a ball.
Why do I feel
I'm
like this?
really enjoying it, and I've not gone back to the game as well because I was like, it's so much fun.
I bet you haven't, yeah.
I was spinning around. I was like, this is amazing. Just like, chasing TIE fighters. Like that the opening of that game is fantastic. But yeah, stupidly, my brain was also going at the same time. You've had a McDonald's this afternoon, and you've decided to do this. You're doing this to us. I've got no idea what you're trying, but ultimately your body's not moving, but I'm telling you are. So yeah, it wasn't great.
Yeah, and I'm very conscious of that, and that's I don't want to, going in completely new. I don't want it to be an experience that then makes me sick and then forever associate with the feeling of playing that. So I'm gonna, as hard as it's going to be, I will probably play the prologue introduction to Horizon just to see the shiny new thing, but then I'll probably try and switch to more gentle experiences for maybe a few days, even just to build up slowly to it.
But the tech's meant to be better, isn't it? And I think that's the core part of what's there to kind of trick your brain into thinking it is moving. So, and to be brutally honest, it bothered me the quality of the lens, and it still leaked some eyesight, and the headphones weren't great because you had to use your own, with the headset. Everything just felt like there was friction with the experience, and I think that's probably what kept me grounded in reality rather than getting involved in the actual virtual aspect too much. So I'll definitely try it. I think it's something that I'd like to go back to, and Soph absolutely adored the headset when we had it. She didn't really get motion sickness and absolutely loved some of the games on it, especially Beat Saber. But if there's more experiences like that and it does get solid investment, then yeah, it'll be a must-have in a couple of years' time.
I think that for me is obviously I've got pre-ordered, but if I was on the fence now, that is what I think Sony really need to come out and do now in the next month or in the weeks after the launch, is just say, right, here's all the launch stuff that we've had, plenty to keep you going there for the next 3 to 6 months for most normal people, I should think. But here's what's coming next, just to show that there's that long-term commitment. Where's the big first-party IP, recognizable names? Where's the Astrobot? Let's see those games that are going to be out 6 months from now, a year from now, maybe even just show some logos of games that we're going to be playing a couple of years from now, just to reassure people that look, we are in this for the rest of this generation. You're going to keep getting support on this thing.
Yeah,
that's what they need. So
I'm going to cut the topic there. I'm going to hope and pray that console's fantastic, because I know you were looking forward to it, mate. So yeah, I'm looking forward to you experiencing it and sharing your thoughts with us later down the line. When's it out? It's only a month or so, isn't it?
The 22nd of February, if the postal service decides to deliver on that day and not go on strike.
Postamental
attitude. Alex is getting one too. Alex is getting one too in the group, so we'll have he and I will be hopefully getting excited together. As it were.
Okay. That's getting screen grabbed. So just going to cut the topic there, and we're going to have a little bit of a chat here about the upcoming games for 2023, because do we feel we're a little light now that Xbox is kind of showing its hand a little bit and doing a bit more of a deeper dive? There's like a rumored Nintendo Direct coming, in the next couple of weeks. February seems to be the right month for a showcase. What we kind of thinking, Heather? Do you reckon we'll get one?
So, but I don't feel like we'll get one till Q2, maybe very end of Q1.
Okay. And Laurie, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think they've got too much. I said it in my predictions a couple of weeks ago. I think Sony Spider-Man's going to be their big game. I think Sony will say, look, we've put out new hardware with a bunch of games. Is that not enough for you? And we've had Forspoken, which was a bit of a bust, sadly. There's got Final Fantasy, probably a couple of those coming this year, maybe. And then the Spider-Man. And Spider-Man is a huge system seller. And then I think there's tons of third-party games. I don't know. I know we all are desperate to see some big Sony PlayStation Studios exclusives, but I don't think they've got that many studios ready to release anything in the short term. The next year or two. Well, the next year certainly. So I think Spider-Man 2 could well be it, really.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of rumours of quite a lot of third parties. So I'm just reading GameRant.com, and their headline is rumour PlayStation could announce new third-party content very, very soon. A new leak mentions that PlayStation could reveal third-party content, possibly hinting at a State of Play event coming shortly. State of Play showcases were usually smaller events that focus on games outside the AAA space, but 2022 marked a change to that. So we had reveals of Tekken 8, Rise of the Ronin, Resident Evil 4, as well as trailers for Final Fantasy 16, God of War Ragnarok, Street Fighter 6, and more. Now it looks Sony could announce a new showcase with a heavy focus on third-party content. As reported by Insider Gaming, the seemingly retired leaker, known as the Snitch, posted new information on Discord revealing that they received a DM from a reliable source about Sony's plans. What a snitch. It states that PlayStation will announce third-party stuff very soon, possibly hinting at a new State of Play event coming in the near future. Fans should note, though, that even though the Snitch was a reliable leaker, every rumour should be taken with a grain of salt. The previous State of Play showcases took place in September 2022. Yeah, that's a while now, isn't it? So... Okay.
I just remembered as well, they're treating that Horizon DLC as a release in itself. There's one of their sizzle reels they did recently, or some advert somewhere of like, here's the games that are coming. I had that Burning Shores DLC, so clearly they're not done with Horizon still as well.
That's it. Give us a showcase, your wimps. Come on. Heather,
and as I said before, I do genuinely think that we'll get The Last of Us Part 2 director's cut, sort of similar to what they did with Ghost of Tsushima. Because the TV series will end and there'll be big advertising campaign, continue the journey on PS5, and the new release.
With that voice as well.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that'd be effective.
Hopefully they'll make another controller and I can actually buy one this year.
Ooh, yeah,
Damn
good point. Yeah, a good fascia. No, it's not fascia, is it? What do they call them? The
face plates.
Yes, a decent faceplate. That'd be nice.
Controllers. Dan, have you bought the Pro Edge controller thing?
No, I refrained. Like I said, I've been good. It's only the 29th of January, as Heather pointed out, but I've been good.
Yeah.
I've been sensible.
I
do want to get it.
Get one at some point.
It's only because I still use the Xbox Elite 2 controller, whatever it is, the Master Chief one that I got for most of my PC games, but I do like the look of the DualSense Edge. I just want to I want to see different versions of it first. So let them get this.
I think for pro gamers like yourself, it's very important. You're pro gamers that you play these competitive games like Season. You need to have that edge.
I mean, you can sit there with your one Xbox game if you want, and I'll stick to my pro games. It's fine.
Whoa, guys.
Ooh, wow.
Whoa.
Okay. Anyway, if you want to fight Laurie and I in the car park, you can come to. You cannot. So that is the lot. That is your lot for this week, I should say. Thank you for joining us on a fortnightly adventure. I'll give you a lot in a minute. If you want any MOAR of this ruckus, or even podcast about other consoles, and a separate Xbox podcast that Laurie is going to be, I nearly said ejaculated to, then ejected to. Head on over to thecrossplayers.com, and if you click on the Discord link, you can find all of our rowdy bunch lurking about in there, including Laurie in the Xbox side. If you want to go a whole step further, head on over to patreon.com/thecrossplayers and throw some cash at us. Thank you, Laurie. Thank you, Heather. Cheers, guys.
Thank you.
No, Dan, thank you.
No, thanks, Laurie. Thanks for your last ever podcast on the CrossButton. It's just Heather and I from now on.
And remember, the Final Fantasy 9 show. It
literally will be. Should we just start doing that? That's fine. And then Laurie can... Remember, play cross, Heather.
Button.
Thank you, Heather.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.